Hello everybody, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Model Bench, back again with another World War I Wednesday, but this probably isn't going out on a Wednesday because I didn't get anything done. So here we go. If you remember at the end of the last part, we got the propeller painted, we painted our guns, we've done the leather on here, we've done the brown on here ready for the wood, and I have literally just applied the oil paint to make the wood effect. And on all these parts, as you can see, we've got a little propeller there. I think it's for the fuel pump or something. So there we go. So we're good to go. And once we've got another little box of bits over here. So once we got this done, I think we're sort of almost ready to get the final assembly done. And we haven't done the engine yet, but I was waiting to see if somebody came up with a 16th scale resin engine or something. But anyway, so we'll start off with a bit more wood graining because I know a lot of you like to see it. And this is actually the, this is not burnt umber, this is burnt sienna. Okay, so it's a lighter colour, so it will contrast a little bit. If I get those instructions out of the way, you can see here it's sort of like a redder brown, so it just looks a bit different. So we don't have this constant brown colour all over because the whole model has exposed wood, as you know. So what I've done is brush, you've got to kind of scrub the oil on. You've got to really, you can't just sort of brush it on like you're painting something. You've got to really sort of scrub it in. So that's what I've done, and making sure I'm getting all the edges and everything, and then just sort of leave it to dry for, I don't know, half an hour, just to let it kind of tack off. And then what I'll do is I'll come in with a stiffer brush. What have I got here? I should have been better prepared. That's not really any good. That one's a bit too much. This one might be all right. This brush is absolutely shot, as you can see, and it's quite stiff. So we can use that to just go over that oil that we've just done and get like a wood grain finish on it. And I think this is just taking it off, actually, to be honest, rather than putting much of a wood grain on it. But it's going to be buried deep down in the cockpit, so it should be okay. You can see on there we've got that kind of wood look to it. So there we go. Again, with this little propeller, you know, your mind is telling you it's wood anyway. Remember that when you're doing this, if you're trying to achieve a wood look, remember your mind is telling you it's wood. Okay, you don't have to be. It's not like you're looking at a flat panel on a wall. In a diorama or something, and you have to depict it because it could be metal, it could be glass, it could be plastic, it could be anything. You have to make it wood. Your mind's eye knows that this propeller is wood. All right, so just bear that in mind when you are doing something like this. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to work on here, but I'm not sure if it's getting the effect I want or not, really. As you know, a lot of the times I like to use a cotton bud, but I think a cotton bud is going to take too much off. But as you can see, we can get this wood grain look on here by using the cotton bud. Now, the thing to remember with doing this, and this is not how to, this is how I do it. There's lots of different ways to do this, and there are lots of videos on doing it. I've done quite a few. There's been quite a few in this build series, actually. But obviously, the smaller the part, the easier it is. But like I say, remember, your mind's eye, and anybody that looks at this model knows that propeller is made of wood. Now, if it was a Junkers 87, say, the propeller would be painted black-green. The propeller was actually made of wood. So if you were going to chip it and have all the paint worn off, then you've got to have you've got to make it look like wood, because most people would think the propeller on a World War II fighter would be made of metal. Well, on the Junkers 87, it's not. And certain other aircraft as well had wooden props, which I've been caught out on a few times. I've talked about chipping them and that, and someone said, nope, they're wood. So you can see the oils on here are a lot heavier. So we can actually remove some from here. So we just literally rub it off with the cotton bud. And we can turn it around, hold it like this, don't get the oils all over your hands. Just remove most of that oil that I've put on there, it's far too much. There we go, that one could go in the bin. We'll get a fresh one and just work this around. There we are, as you can see. Achieving wood grain with a cotton bud. So I'll just keep playing with this and then we'll leave it to dry for a couple of days and then we'll give it a clear coat and then I'll be back. So you're probably going to get to see this on Saturday or something. In fact, no, we can actually get on with another part of the build, can't we? Because we've got the oil tank to add and everything to the fuselage and some other bits and pieces. There, so that's the initial work. Okay, with the large airlets you can leave that to dry for, I don't know, 24 hours and then work it some more. The longer you leave it, the easier it is to work with, because right now if I go down the middle of there quite heavily, it'll just take it all off. Whereas if you leave it for 24 hours, you could sort of really work it and move it around and get it a bit heavier in some areas and not in others. Okay. And remember, the propeller probably would not have any knots in it because it would be a weakness, wouldn't it? So the propeller, also some propellers were made of one piece of wood, some propellers were laminated, so bear that in mind as well. I'm not really too worried on this for accuracy. I'm not sure if the Sopwith Camel had a laminated or a solid propeller, but this one's going to be solid. I'm not going to worry about trying to put laminations in and stuff. There are ways. Flying Circus Models has done a great video on that, but there are ways of doing the laminations. In fact, I think I did it on my Fokker E4, didn't I? Which was also part of the WNW Wednesday stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to blot some onto there, just again trying to fool you into thinking it's wood, not brown plastic. There we go. Right, back in a bit. Okay, so wooden parts there, ready to go, and straight away as soon as I start talking the bloody frog comes back. So looking in the instructions, looking at what we've done, we've got our fuselage here, as you've seen so many times before, and all of this is done. We can see we've got all the parts crossed out, so that's all good, that's all in. Coming over the page, we've done our instrument panel. It's built up. Sorry about this bloody throat of mine, guys. It's built up. We've got a bulkhead here, we've got some other bits and pieces. That piece there we won't need. These pieces for the wing we may use in a second, we shall see. Where's the other one? There should be a fourth one of those. There is four there, duh. Okay, there's our instrument panel, all done. There's our guns and everything. We won't be putting the guns in yet because they've got the wood grain on them. That oil tank will be going in. We won't be putting that chute in. So there we go. Get rid of the pitot tube. Won't be using the gun sight, won't be using the fuel pump. So I don't think we'll be using those bits either. There should be a little disc on there because we won't be doing any rigging. So there we go. So I think these are the parts we're going to be using for today's video. So that's all done. This is all done. This needs to be glued onto the back of here. So we've got this bulkhead and we've got these two points on here. So what we're going to do is scrape some paint off of there, and we'll scrape some paint off of there. Okay, and then we'll scratch that one up. We've also got a third one there, look. So we'll scrape some paint off of there. Now this one here, I drilled a hole in it and put a thing in to hold it, so there we go. So that's going to go into there. So what I'm going to do is get a tiny drop of extra thin into each of these 3 points. I don't want to flood it because it'll ooze out and make a mess, but we want enough to hold it in place, just like that. Okay, so that's gone in there. And what I'm going to do is come on with the extra thin and put a drop underneath that top one. Let that capillary in, just to make sure it's kind of locked in place. I may be able to get in the side of here as well. I think, I don't know, but I think these areas are going to be covered in. There we go. There we are. Right, so that's that gone down. Okay, so we get the cement over there out of the way. So we've done that one now, so we can grab our pencil and cross that one off. That one's done as well, that one's on there, as you can see. This is all done. That's done. You can see the chute is in there, so that's all done. Now we've got to fit this on the front, but before we do that, what we'll do is we'll go on and fit these parts. So we've got these two parts here, G27 and G32, along with our instrument panel. So G27 is going in here. Now it looks like in instructions it's going that way round. You can see we've got extensions here which point back. So what we're going to do here is remove some paint from there. I wouldn't normally worry about removing paint, but I want to use tiny drops of cement so we don't make a mess. So we need to ensure that there's no paint. This bloody frog in my throat is doing my head in. Go and get a drink a minute, hang on. Okay, so the frog is sorted. Now in here, there will be a tiny amount of paint in those areas there, because if you remember, it was first sprayed with the tan colour. Got to be careful here not to cut our rigging. So I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers. This is the extra long bit which is tied off. Or is this from the... I can't believe what I've done there. I've got... Yes, it is. It's just that bit there tied off. I thought that bit should have gone down, but it didn't. So it doesn't really matter if we do cut it, but nevertheless, I'll get it out of the way. There we go. Right. So, there we go. I don't think we need that bit either, because that's going in on the guns after the guns go in. So, we can now look at fitting all this in. We've got to do a little bit of paint removal on there. We'll do a little bit on there as well, just like so. And then drop these in. So I think what I'll do is put this one in first because it's the lowest. So that one's going to go into here. So that's going into the forwarder. I'm not sure if it goes, yes it does. It goes so that the top sits down in. Okay, so it doesn't sit like you've got your groove in the chassis, your frame rail. It doesn't go like that, it goes like that in. Okay, so just little notes to add if you're building one of these and you're fairly new and you need a bit of a helping hand. If you're not fairly new, then you don't want to be listening to me tell you how to do stuff, do you? Right, so that's gone down too far now. So pick that back up. Right, so that's just going to sit like that. So what we'll do is glue it from the inside. It's part of the gun mount. The gun mounts, there's lots of positions the gun's glued down in, so not too worried about that. Okay, so that's going in there like that. And then the next one is the instrument panel, which is going into a little groove in between. I can't see how that's going to happen because have I done something wrong here? I can't see what I've done wrong here. I can't see that I've got anything wrong, but that groove there, it looks like that's where the instrument panel wants to sit, and I've got this in the way. Let me just go back and check my instructions a second. It's okay, it's the instructions that are out. This little cutout here is shown in the instructions here, but it's not shown down here. Oh, it's there. No, it's not there. They're not showing that little cutout in the top. So the instrument panel is going to go down into there. There's a tiny little notch there where it goes. This is also fragile and flimsy and everything else you don't want it to be. So it also has a nice large area to sit down in here. These steps down in here, it looks like it goes down in there. So that's really nice as well. So let's just see how far down in it goes. Let's get that bloody string out of the way. There we go. So that's gone in, and it doesn't even need glue really, I don't think. It's such a lovely fit. Yes, we can see now how well that fits. It's not gone right down in that notch on there. Give that a little push. And what we'll do is come in with a drop of extra thin in from the back. Just like so, and that'll be enough. Just touch it and run. So that's the instrument panel in now, guys. So you can see the cockpit is really starting to come together. Okay, so that's that done. So we've done the instrument panel, we've done G27. Now we're going to do G32, and that one is going into the groove there, which is right by that string. So what I'm going to have to do is unattach this string from here. I'm going to break that bloody tailplane in a minute. Let's get this propeller out of the way. This is the problem with this model, you just tap things and it's going to break. When it's got the wings on, it's going to be even more unwieldy. So what we'll do is pull that back, and we'll wrap it around there. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm going to have to tension these strings for the final time, because we're getting to the point where everything's going to be in the way. So we'll just pull that around there like that. Right. So now this one can go in. Now this one looks like it's symmetrical, so it has no obvious direction. We've already scraped the paint from that. So that is going to go down into here. Whoops. It's going to go down into there like so. There we go. Just like that. We are in. Right. That's actually gone down too far, that one. There we go. Got to make sure it sits in the groove and not down below it. Okay, put this one back so I've managed to push it forward. Make sure everything's nice and square. It's looking very very fragile and very complex, isn't it? And then we've got this forward bulkhead to go on. So this is going to go on 4 rather large pins. So what we will do is just scrape some paint from the sides of the pins, because we don't want oodles of glue going everywhere. That string there is going to get in the way. There we go. Right, so we can pop this on. Remember, we've got that little piece on the front there, that's steady. That's going to also glue into this little slot down in here. So we'll get some paint out of there as well. And then this can go back in and fit on these 4 large pins on the fuselage, like so. Okay, so that's butting up nicely on there. So I think what I'm going to do is grab a couple of clamps, grab a couple of these. No, they're going to be a bit too harsh, they're going to damage the paint. We'll get a couple of the rubber ones. Trouble is they're so fat I can't get them in there. I should be able to get one in the top. And then the same on the other side, we've got even more room on the other side. Clamp this side first, because if I do this the other side first, it doesn't want to stay in line. Okay, that's better. And now we can clamp this side like so. And there we go. Right, so what we'll do now is put a drop of cement on each of these 4 pins. And because it's clamped, if it does capillary up behind, it doesn't matter, because there's no glue going to ooze out because we've pre-clamped it. Remember that golden rule: clamp first, glue after, and then you won't get horrible weld bead type looking things oozing out everywhere. Okay, so that's our main firewall on. That's what the engine's going to hang off of. I'm not too worried about strength and rigidity because the whole thing is so sloppy that, or floppy shall we say, that you know, I'm not really too worried about it. I am going to put another drop on the top of here though, because as I say, the engine's going to be hanging off of this. Oh, that capillary right beautifully. There we are. In fact, I'm going to put a couple of drops on the bottom. That went round there so well. So put a drop on each side on the bottom, and that will ensure that stays securely fixed in place. It's looking very, very busy up here now, isn't it? It's beautiful. Right, so that's that done. So that's that page completely done. Coming over the page, we've done all of this. 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 You see what I mean? They're telling us to put these control cables in now. Can you imagine trying to get them all through with all this in the way? That's why I've done it the way I did it. Okay. We've done all of this. We've done all of this. We've done this tank. We've done the seat. The seat is not fitted yet. We've got those little side panels to go on. And we've got our guns built up, but we're waiting for the oil paints on those to dry, so we're not ready to fit those yet. But I think actually it wouldn't be a bad idea just to dry fit one of them. This is that side, just to check. So the only positive location we've got is this square lump here is going to go down into that ejection chute. Okay, and then this raised boss here is going to sit down on top of that bracket. So we can see now that I can fit that in there and it just drops into place beautifully. And that chute there, is that designed to plug into the side of there? I don't think it is. I think it's designed just to sit there. There we go. Yeah, that's fitting in there beautifully, look. Right. A lot of you are loving this model, I know you are. And I thank you for that. Because honestly, without your support, I would have given up ages ago. We've done all this. We've done all of that. So the next step is going to be all this. So we've got to get these pieces here glued in the wings. So let's move this fuselage out of the way so it can sit there and do its thing drying. Sorry guys, I had the fuselage placed on the box and the nose was hanging out. So if he just jumps up to sniff it and knocks it, it'll be over. That'll be it. World War I Wednesdays will be gone forever. Right, so this piece here is going to glue. This is the wider one, so this is going into the trailing edge by the look of it. Where is it? I wish they said on here. So M1 is going to the back. So M1 is this is N1, the wider one. So this they should have had an arrow, shouldn't they? Leading edge or trailing edge. So this one here, N1 and N2, N1 and N2. And this is N2. So N2 is going underneath. N1 is going on the top. That has the two grooves. So that is going to sit here on there like that, and then this one is going to sit underneath like that. So that's our centre wing sections fared over. Right, so what I'm going to do is remove this with my tweezers, and I'm going to grab a drop of Mig Ammo Ultra Glue. And I've got a stretch sprue glue applicator here, which you'll see in another forthcoming video. So I can get a drop of glue. Where's the centre? There it is. So I'm going to put some glue on there. Quite a bit on the edge, and then it'll run inside. So the top one is the one with two grooves in it, isn't it? Yes, so the fat bit goes to the back. So So that's going to sit in there like that and slide up forward, just like so. And then we're going to turn this over and we'll get a bit more glue. Can you see what I'm doing? I hope you can. We'll put some more glue along here, just like so, and glue that down. Notice I'm not gluing it at the back because I don't want any oozage. There we are, that's that one stuck in. And without gluing it at the back, we get a nice neat look to it. You can see how those strings are going into those little neat grooves. So that's looking very tidy, isn't it? And then this one, M1 and M1 are the same, so there's no top and bottom for the back. So that one is going to go over like that. Okay, so the back edge sits level with the back edge of the spar. So what we'll do again, we'll put glue on the front. Just like that. There we go. And then we'll put some glue on the other side. Just like that. Come on, let's get some bloody glue on there. It just wants to stay on the plastic. It doesn't want to come off and onto the wing. It just wants to stay on the applicator. It's like, no, I wasn't destined to be on a World War I aircraft. I want to stick a canopy in. No, do as you're told. There we go, there's the, I'm assuming they're little fairings or something. So maybe they're fairings because if it was doped there would be a hole up there for the pilot to look up through. Maybe it was a glazed panel. Who knows? Right, so that's those done. So we can cross those off on our instructions now. Okay, and we've got our pitot tubes and everything. I think I'm going to do those bits like after it's gone together, because they're going to be sticking out and likely to get broke off. So I think I'll put those in after the rigging's done, isn't it? One of the last jobs, I think, the pitot tube. Probably the same for that fuel pump thing as well. So coming over the page here, we are now looking at fitting this top piece, this here, machine guns. In fact, what we're doing now is rigging. So yeah, we're at the point now where we've got to start looking at fitting the wings and everything, and I'm not doing that right now. I'm going to do that next week. But we are really starting to see a goal now, guys. We're coming to the end of this mammoth build. And that there needs to be clamped into place. Let me grab a peg and clamp that up. Right, I will see you hopefully next Wednesday. Put that screen away. I'll see you hopefully next Wednesday, and we'll do some more of this beautiful, beautiful model. But I'll just give you a final look-see up here at this lovely, lovely structure. We've got to put the seat and everything in yet. I'm not worried about that at the moment. I'm going to get this rigging tensioned first, I think. So there we are. You can see how she's looking absolutely bloody gorgeous. So when we get the guns in there as well, they're going to hide all that work on the instrument panel. It's all going to be hidden away by a cowling. But hey, it was fun, wasn't it, doing it? I've also got to paint the ends of these exhaust pipes. So, oh, I haven't glued that in, have I? I haven't glued that into there. That has to come forward into there. There we go. See how that just slots in and it just stays there. Look at that. I'll take it out again. Just bunk like that. Drop that in. Drop a cement on there. Job done. So that's our rudder pedals supported now, as you can see. Move the rudder pedals. Move the rudder. There we go. Right, so that's nice and solid now. Brilliant. Thank you for watching, guys. Sorry it's been a short one. I will see you next week. Maybe we'll get a bit more done on this, and maybe we'll get that mini art thing out as well. But I'm really keen to push on with this now and get it done, because I can really see the light at the end of the tunnel, as it were, on this one now. Right, see you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.